Welcome to Breaking the Silence, a podcast produced by Angels Protection, Inc., where we uplift the voices of young mothers and women and the innovators, builders, and leaders shaping the technology systems and futures that influence our daily lives. I'm your host, Makaila Davis, founder and chairwoman of Angels Protection, Inc., and Tech Forward is a series dedicated to the innovators whose work goes beyond disruption, leaders who understand that technology must be ethical, sustainable, and human-centered. This series highlights individuals who design with intention, build with responsibility, and recognize that innovation without equity leaves too many behind. Today's guest is an entrepreneur and engineer whose work sits at the intersection of technology, sustainability, culture, and community impact, and whose journey reflects what it truly means to build with purpose. Daryl Riley Jr. is a visionary entrepreneur and electrical engineer dedicated to advancing innovation at the intersection of technology, sustainability, and culture. He's the founder and CEO of Tendaji, a fashion technology company pioneering solar-powered wearable technology. Most notably, Tendaji is the creator of Sundara, a solar-powered wireless charging jacket designed to merge style, sustainability, and functionality. Founded in 2020 during COVID-19 pandemic, Tendaji emerged at the moment of global disruption and has since gained national recognition for its innovation across fashion, clean energy, and consumer technology. Daryl holds a Bachelor of Science in Electrical Engineering from Hampton University and a Master of Science in Electrical Engineering from North Carolina A&T State University. His academic training in green engineering laid the foundation for his work developing sustainable consumer technologies. The solar power jacket that launched Tendaji originated as his senior design project and has since advanced to patent pending status, reflecting both technical excellence and entrepreneurial vision. Beyond his professional work, Daryl is a proud member of Alpha Phi Alpha Fraternity Incorporated, the nation's first intercollegiate Greek letter fraternity for African American men. Rooted in the fraternity's principles of manly deeds, scholarship, and love for all mankind, Daryl carries a deep commitment to service, leadership, and a collective uplift, values that shape both his entrepreneurial journey and his approach to community-centered innovation. Under Daryl's leadership, Tendaji has been featured in Essence magazine, accepted into the 2025 B Visionaries, the Mercedes-Benz Fellowship, won a Ford-sponsored pitch competition, and earned recognition as a prize winner of Pharrell Williams' Black Ambition Prize competition. He's also a Hampton University 40 Under 40 Society honoree. Professionally, Daryl has supported large-scale project planning and execution through his work with Next Era Energy and previously worked at Accenture, bringing systems level thinking to both corporate and startup environments. The name Tendaji, meaning to make things happen in Swahili, reflects both his personal philosophy and the mission behind his work. Through innovation, storytelling, and leadership, Daryl continues to build platforms that connect advanced technology with human-centered impact. So I just want to take the time to welcome you to the podcast.
What's going on, Makaila? Yo, that was good. That was good. Appreciate it. Definitely appreciate the warm welcome, family.
No, I appreciate you and being a part of this. So I kind of just want to kick it off and ask you to begin like what first drew you to engineering and innovation, and how did your early experiences shape your journey as a builder and an entrepreneur?
Yeah, so most definitely. So we can go back to my childhood, man. I remember it's a funny story. So I'm pretty sure like we're not that old, but there was this thing called DVD players that we had.
Right.
So I remember plugging in the DVD player into the TV. You had the red wire, the white wire, and the yellow wire. Put that in, the DVD player was working fine. My mom's like, "Oh, my baby gonna be an engineer." So that's what that's what kind of got like the gears moving when it came to like, okay, this may be something I want to do. Also, my uncle, he was also an engineer himself, so seeing his passion in it made me want to consider it, and the rest is history. It brought me to being at Hampton University, where I got my bachelor's in electrical engineering. And just tech is, something that I always was fond of, other than like sports and all. But like tech was something that just made me think that, nah, this could be like a lifetime thing for me, honestly.
No, I love that. And as we're kind of going to get into more questions, like it did turn into that for you as a,
Hmm.
a lifelong, career for you. So I kind of want to touch on your business a little bit too. So Tendaji was founded during the height of COVID-19 pandemic. So what challenges did you face launching a technology company during such an uncertain time, and what kept you grounded?
Yeah, so honestly, just the pandemic itself was the challenge that we had to go through. So Prior to the pandemic, me and my co-founders, we were senior engineering design project partners at Hampton, and we all wanted to combine all our expertise into one. Where I came from solar energy, green energy in general. Stanton Ridley, our CDO, Chief Design Officer, he's the fashion guru of the group. Was always wanted to integrate tech into fashion, and he's also been featured in New York Fashion Week, bound to be featured in Paris Fashion Week. And Jordan, he's like the stereotypical engineer. He's speaking when spoken to, and he's just a fun person to be around once you actually get to know him. And he wanted to work on wireless charging and its capabilities. So I remember we were at the Harbs, which is a student apartment housing in Hampton University, right across the campus. We were just sipping on wine, eating some pizza, trying to figure out what this product is going to be. And we had the thought of a jacket that could wirelessly charge your phone via solar energy. And from there was just us building it out. Unfortunately, March 2020, that's when the pandemic happened, had us separate ourselves from each other. So I'm from upstate New York, Newburgh, New York to be specific. Stanton, he's from Long Island, New York, and Jordan, he's from Delaware. So it was kind of hard to be in a physical place together. But since the pandemic, we just been on Zoom. Thank God for Zoom during a time where we couldn't really communicate with each other in person. And just building each and every day. There's going to always come challenges, but for the fact that we started a business during the pandemic, like that was already a solid foundation for us to keep on going because we didn't know what tomorrow will bring, but we knew that, we was going to just focus on today.
And you guys did. And to see where it has came since then, now 6 years later, um, to me, I'm seeing that you're making a huge impact within the community. So I definitely commend you on that. Even with me, like I started the nonprofit during the height of the pandemic.
Hmm.
It's it's a lot. But I commend you and you guys like still seeing it through till the end, no matter, the trials and tribulations that have came because of the pandemic. Um,
Oh yeah.
so like also too, like your work, it sits at the intersection of fashion, clean energy, and technology. Why was it important for you to merge sustainability with consumer design?
Yeah, so honestly, we just thought that during the time where people was on the verge of doing wearable tech, but not really. Just seeing that me, Stanton and Jordan came together at a time where this could be a real possibility just because we had every aspect of tech and fashion coming together. When we see fashion tech is more so optics. It's like Skechers light ups, they're just there just to look cool. But we wanted to take it a step further and not only it be for optics, but for the benefit of the consumer. So that's when the ideas start coming in where, we have this for the jacket. We got other products that we want to bring out for Tendaji just so people can not only feel good, look good, but there's a benefit to, having our product on them. So yeah.
I really love that. Then also too, like to tie into that, I want to ask like, how do you approach building technology that is not only innovative but accessible and culturally relevant?
Yeah, so honestly, just like working together, like one thing about it, I am very grateful for my team. So even as a CEO, there's gonna come a point where you just don't know what needs to happen, and that's why I have people like Stanton and Jordan. So Stanton, he has his own fashion line. He had this before we even founded Tendaji. So he's been through the nitty-gritty of what entrepreneurship is. So even though, me being a CEO and I have Stanton and Jordan under me, sometimes I go to them for advice because, with me being the CEO, I gotta be out there marketing, I gotta have my so many hats on and my hands in all over the place for different aspects of business. And sometimes like, people that's right next to you are the ones that can really help you out. So we know the African proverb, if you want to go fast, go by yourself. But if you want to go far, go together. And honestly, that has been like a proverb that I just been like keeping close to me when it comes to working on business because you can't go into the entrepreneurship realm and think that you know everything because that's going to be strike two for you already, and if you're not willing to learn and accept that you don't know everything, then you're already getting closer to what God has in store for you.
No, I agree with that. And also too, like leaning on your team. I had to learn that recently because I think
Hmm.
when you're first like in those building stages, it's like, man, okay, I'm just going to do it because I have the vision in my mind. I know that I can execute it. But as time
Hmm.
goes on, when you're a CEO and you expand and you start getting more opportunities, you can't be in everything. You can't
Hmm.
be handling it all. You can't do every presentation, you know?
Yeah. Be the
Like,
burnout.
yeah, burnout, and then your schedule doesn't align because you have so many other things that you need to handle.
Yeah.
Whether it's like administratively or if it's just showing up to events, that you're required to do. Um,
Yeah.
so, I loved how you said like leaning on your team because they know things that you don't, and that's what makes you a great leader to help the business thrive. Like,
Hmm.
you know, um, being around like those core five people that you're around, that says a lot about you and
Yeah.
who your team is. Says a lot
Hmm.
about you too, and how it's going to grow your business to a higher level. So I really loved how you touched on that.
Most definitely. Like as a leader, the first thing you need to do is serve. Like we have examples, man, like from Martin Luther King to even our Lord and Savior Jesus Christ, man. Like he, was washing his disciples' feet. He was healing the blind, healing the sick. He was serving. So who's to say that we can't serve as a leader as well?
I agree. And also too, like I also wanted to ask, what responsibility do technologists and engineers have when designing products that impact everyday life?
Yeah, so yeah, going back to the senior engineering design project, we've been using different softwares that could help us into like really designing this product. For instance, Clo 3D is a fantastic tool to use when it comes to wearable products. Also, we use Arduino, which is like coding or multi-sim where it comes to circuit design. Those were some apps that we used when we was going into the senior engineering design project. It's kind of amazing to know that if you just have like an idea that there's always going to be tools to make that idea become a reality, and even though like we're still in the prototyping phase, like imagine if we didn't have these tools prior, then we would have never thought that this would have been possible. So as long as we just take it one day at a time, understand that, as long as we got the team and we have the right tools to make this thing happen, and even outside the team, like the supporters, like you mentioned Black Ambition, you mentioned Be Visionaries, the Mercedes-Benz Fellowship, people that see the vision because we see it and we've been on it for, I mean, now 6 years. People want to join the ride and see how we can make this thing happen for real.
I agree, and I think that's really important, acknowledging how technologists and engineers they do have a duty
Hmm.
creating these products that are, impacting folks within the community. So,
Yeah. Because I mean, engineers were creatives just as everybody else. I remember my one of my professors, she said that engineers are the ones who create the next best thing.
mm,
So why not son Daryl be the next best thing? I mean, the iPhone was one of the next best thing. AI is recently the next best thing. So we only limit ourselves if we don't try to like push forward and change the narrative or change the status quo.
I agree. And also, too, what lessons from large scale infrastructure and energy projects translated most directly into your entrepreneurial journey?
Yeah, most definitely. So when I was with Next Era Energy back in 2018, summer 2018, uh, I did a project on operations with solar energy, and then also we had like a data analyst project. So just being amongst people that's been doing this for I want to say like 20 years. And, I'm literally new to the game as an intern. This was my first ever internship. Just seeing their thought process about solar energy made me just think like, I wonder if there's anything else we can do with solar energy other than what we see right now. So that's when
Mm.
things really started like coming into fruition with me. I remember that following summer, summer 2019, I was an intern at Duke University with the National Science Foundation doing research. And lucky for me, the research was on solar energy. So shout out to Dr. Jonathan Frierson, shout out to Dr. Adrian Stiff Roberts, two Black women that are in the tech space. That's where I was really doing more research on solar energy, seeing things like perovskites, things that people normally don't hear about, like RIR Maple, which is resonant infrared matrix assisted post vapor evaporation. Can't believe I still remember that after like 7 years. But it's like you just learn so much, and now with you having that knowledge is you want to see if you could take it a step further. Like Gen Z, like Gen Z and then Gen Alpha is coming along the way. We were born into the tech and the internet and stuff like that. So it's very, very, very inspiring to see how things are going to turn out, in the next couple of years, because as we see, technology is just growing exponentially. It's not just a linear increase. Like it's happening fast. So it's either we get right or we get left.
I agree with that, especially on that we have to get right or we do get left in our
Mhm.
generation. And really, I think also too, like using our platforms, connecting with folks is really important because we are growing, tech is growing. And like you said, why not be the next best thing? All these
Mhm.
things were the next best thing at one point in time. So we need to do that for ourselves.
Yeah,
Um,
absolutely.
and also too, like I wanted to touch on, you're a member of Alpha Phi Alpha Fraternity Incorporated. So how
Mhm.
has the brotherhood and service through Alpha shaped your leadership philosophy?
Oh yeah, most definitely. So, Alpha, we develop leaders out here, man. And let me tell you, so I was interested in Alpha when I was at Hampton, right? Unfortunately, things happened where I couldn't, pledge during at Hampton, but still had a good relationship with a lot of the brothers out there and even brothers outside of the chapter that I was pursuing at that point. When I got to A&T, I remember one of my closest friends, he became Alpha, was spring 21. I was like on the verge of about to be in, well, I was already in grad school, but prior to him crossing, his dad, he was like the head honcho on A&T's campus. He was Alpha there. I remember when I told him I was going to A&T, or like I got accepted to A&T, he literally got on the phone, right? Called his Neo. His Neo is the dean of the graduate college at A&T. He said, "Hey, Clay, I got this young brother right near here. His name is DJ Riley. Like he just graduated from, well, he's about to graduate from Hampton. I want you to give him a full ride." I kid you not, Dr. Gloucester on the other line said, "The deed is done." Click. I looked at my bro Sammy. I'm like, "Your dad got that much pull, bro?" Like, and that's how it happened, man. It's like seeing like the connections that they had just off of one phone call. That phone call was probably like under a minute, like tops, and seeing how they really looked out for their own. Like I was already interested when I was at Hampton, but that right there made me like, bro, I gotta be part of this fraternity, man. You
Right.
know?
Right.
'Cause,
That's where you go.
you know what I'm saying? Because if y'all got it like that, man, let me sign up. You know what I'm saying? And I remember, but nah, one transparent moment. I remember when I was at A&T and Dr. Gloucester, he was a part of the alumni chapter at Greensboro, and I was telling him like, I was interested in being an alpha, and he was like transparent with me. He's like, bro, you got Tendaji. You're doing stuff with like an ambassador program with the Legacy Classic, which was Michael B. Jordan's event. You're doing stuff with Watch the Yard and you're not even Greek yet. And now you want to try and pledge. And I'm like, you know what? You're right. I could wait. I ain't in no rush to become alpha. Like, if alpha been here for 100 plus years. I can, I mean, I ain't gonna be alive for another 100 plus years, but I could wait until, I get my master's. So that's how it happened. I remember when it was my last year at A&T. I got accepted to Accenture, which was locating me in Philly. So I'm like, okay, let me see what chapters are out here in Philly. The first chapter that came up was Road Chapter, which is my current chapter. And I was thinking to myself, I didn't know Alpha had a single letter alumni chapter because all the alumni chapters for Alpha have Lambda designated at the end of the chapter name. So if you're thinking of like, let's see, one alumni chapter in Brooklyn, they're called Gamma Iota Lambda. Like Lambda signifies that they're, alumni. But bro, it was just different. It was just bro. There was no second letter. There wasn't the third letter. So it was a lot of history just because it was a single letter chapter. It was chartered November 3rd, 1914. A lot of history there that I wanted to be a part of and to add on to. And meeting a lot of amazing brothers in that chapter, man, from Shevin Smith Ward, who was my dean, to Tyrone Highsmith, people like that. I'm trying to think of some more. Ruben Mills, those people right there, they really poured into me, showing me what, Alpha was about, what the brotherhood was about, just taking care of our own and not just taking care of our own as alphas, but taking care of the community. People that normally don't have the resources or the tools, but if we're able to give those resources and tools and just that helping hand, at least we know we're making the world 1% better because, we're helping people who want to see better for themselves as well. And yeah, man, listen, '06 to the good bros, none but love over here, and shout out to all D9. I got none but love for all y'all. Yeah, man, the first and the coldest, that's what I rep out here.
No, I love that. And, really touching on like how that brotherhood has wrapped you in their arms, and shown that love to you and being able to give that back to the other brothers and the community, because that's what it's all about. Um,
Hmm.
so also too, like Alpha Phi Alpha Fraternity Incorporated, it emphasized service, scholarship, and leadership. So how do those principles show up in how you build Tendaji and mentor others?
Yeah, man. So service. So as a like I said, as a leader, your first attribute is to be a servant, our motto is first of all, servants of all, we shall transcend all. And as you see, servants of all, that's what we're about. So when we founded Tendaji, and I'm speaking to people that I knew about, wanting to see like the next best thing happen. And I mentioned Sandara. It didn't have a name at that point, but the solar power wireless charging jacket. And when I'm hearing people saying like, this is a great idea. I think this could, really work. It just motivated me some more to make it happen because I'm not just doing it for myself anymore. I'm doing it for people that believe not only in the product, but believe in me and my team. Because, if this is something that we had in place since August 2019 when we became project partners, why not keep on working until this thing comes into fruition, you know?
I agree. And I think it's really important to like mentoring the next generation. I know
Hmm.
I mentor so much, and it got to the point where I had to understand. I feel like sometimes, especially us as young professionals, we're overly mentored, and it's
Yeah.
folks that are sponsoring us and getting us into that door.
Oh,
And
yeah.
I touch on this all the time because it with my own experiences, I'm like, some folks they'll tell you about what's behind that door, but they won't bring it through. You know,
Yeah.
so and I think that's the tough part, but I think like mentorship is so important, sponsorship, bringing a young person to an event so they could see the work you do, behind the scenes is so
Hmm.
important. But yeah, you're doing the work. I see you, and I'm like, man, he is working. He does not get a break.
I appreciate it. I appreciate it. There's actually, I remember when I was at Duke, I was looking at some research even outside of my scope with solar energy, and I was just curious. I wanted to know like the percentage of like Black people that was in engineering in particular, right? So one of the statistics was of all engineers, only 5% of all engineers are Black male, and that's just Black male. We didn't even mention Black women, so I'm pretty sure it's even lesser than what it is for Black men. And then later on, I remember I wanted to do more research just because of patents. So we got patent pending status, thank God for that. I wanted to know how much of a percentage of Black patent owners are there. It's less than 1%. So as a person that wants to serve, I feel like in this lifetime, if I can increase the number of Black patent owners from less than 1% to 2%, at least I did my part. If I can get Black males to increase from 5% to 7%, Black women from, I think it was like 3.7% to 5%, at least in my lifetime, I did my part to make sure that we had more of us in the STEM field, you know?
I agree. And you're doing that. You're doing that by all the different like programs that you're getting involved in, meeting folks. Like the younger generation, they do see that.
Yeah.
I think that's like the biggest thing. And then showing up every day. Because also I wanted to touch on too, in what ways do you see fraternities and civic organizations playing a role in advancing innovation, economic opportunity, and community trust in the tech space?
Oh yeah, most definitely. Just communication. People will like vouch for you if like you're doing something great. You know what I'm saying? Like it doesn't even have to just be like fraternity brothers. It can just be, it could be my family, it could be my friends, it could be people that I meet along the way that just was so fond of what we have going on. So it's like word of mouth is always going to be a top tier way of like getting, your brand out. You know what I'm saying? Like if you got people that's like really riding or dying for you, then it's just gonna, it's gonna be like a domino effect. You're just gonna keep on adding, and one thing about it that I learned, especially like just being in the black community, man, like we be there for ourselves, you know what I'm saying? Like we like whether it's the Black Americans or Afro Latino, Caribbean, African, when we see one of us winning, that we're just so proud, we all winning, and it's like might as well just keep on winning, you know?
That's all we can do, keep on winning. And also wanted to like touch on what does success mean to you now compared to when you first started your company?
Yeah, so success means to me, it definitely changed over the years, but as of recent, I just want God to keep on blessing me so I can bless others. Like that's really just been my grounded response from this point on. There's been times um where I just think I'm not doing enough,
Mhm.
but when I talk to people like you or talk to like my peers, they kind of just, reaffirm me and reassure me that, bro, you're doing amazing, and sometimes I gotta really look back. Like even before you press record on the podcast, I was feeling kind of cringe when you was reading my bio, and I'm like, all right, yeah, we can like dumb it down a little bit. You know what I'm saying? I'm just a man, but it's always good to receive flowers because sometimes we don't take the time to smell the flowers that's given to us, and just want to really appreciate you for giving me the space to smell my flowers and just know I want to make sure that I can give as many flowers to you or anybody else that's doing amazing work in this world.
No, I appreciate that. And I think it's so important too, especially like, Black men getting their flowers,
Hmm.
that looks like many different things. And I think it's important to highlight that work.
Yeah.
You're doing it. And even sometimes for me too, like, I get to the point where like, man, what am I doing? But then
Hmm.
I have to sit and reflect, like, man, I have done a lot. Or when people are like, oh, you're in it, you're doing it. I'm like, am I? Because
Oh
I'm
yeah.
just like, working. And sometimes we're just like, oh, we just need to get this done. And we just need to apply for this program because it's going to help the company get to where it needs to be. And not
Hmm.
seeing how much work we're even doing in the midst of that, of
Oh
applying
yeah.
for that next opportunity. Like it took so many other steps to even get to here, and you did it. And most people won't understand if you're not a founder of something
Hmm.
how much work that is.
Oh yeah.
How much work it is to apply for, to get the business incorporated. First of all,
Oh,
you need to figure out what type of incorporation you want.
exactly. We got C corps, we got S corps, we got LLCs, we got nonprofits. Like, what you want to do?
And then once you figure out what you want to do, then you got to, okay, now I got to do the taxes. So what does that look like? Now I need an accountant and I need this and I also need a team. So
Hmm.
how do I, build this up to get enough buy-in that
Yeah.
folks see it, that it's a real company and I'm not doing it for play. And then
Yeah.
when you're someone that's young, especially in our generation, and we're doing the work that we're doing, it's harder for most folks to take us serious because they're like, well, what type of company is this? It's not like a Target or a big corporation that's been around for so long. It's
Mhm.
smaller, but it's still just as real. We found
Yeah.
our businesses the same way.
Yeah, because Target was once a startup, Google was once a startup, Apple was once a startup, but it's like you gotta, people gotta like tap in with you, and sometimes it'd be too late for a lot of them, but hey man, like to the ones who've been with us from the very beginning, shout out to y'all. Y'all gonna reap the benefits more than the ones who are just now tagging along. And yeah, man, like listen, all we want to do is just make sure that we just, help the next man and eventually they'll receive the help, as long as they look for it.
I agree. And I think that it's like you said, like the folks that because I value the folks like when I reach out and somebody says yes and they see what I'm doing, I'm like,
Yeah.
okay, now I'm thinking about ways, how can this relationship advance further
Oh yeah.
than just what I had you in mind for, you know?
Hmm.
So and most people don't, think about that, like not,
Yeah.
and I had to get to a point where like I don't just shoot down opportunities right then and there. Like I need some
Hmm.
time to think about it because it could be something that I really need to do. Even I'll fit things in my schedule, even when it looks so jam-packed. I'm like, this might be something that I just need to do, that
Hmm.
this window of opportunity is so small.
Yeah.
And that even comes with the opportunities that we provide people, even with our businesses, even where they are.
Hmm. Nah, absolutely. You hit it right on the nail, Like listen, this is why you got this podcast, man, because
Yeah.
you're really here to just drop gems on everybody. You know what I'm saying? I'm just the whole time I'm a guest, but I feel like I'm learning a lot from you than me just trying to teach you something, you know what I'm saying?
No, I'm just here. I am just here. Um, so like also too, what advice would you offer young innovators, especially Black engineers and founders navigating tech, funding, and visibility?
Yeah, man. So there was this quote that really got me through a lot. And one thing as entrepreneurs, you got to be resilient. You know what I'm saying? But the quote is legends aren't defined by their success, it's how they bounce back from their failures. And trust me, you're going to have so many more failures than you have successes. But the biggest failure is if you give up. Don't ever give up on yourself. You know what I'm saying? Because if you don't believe in you, who else will? You know? And trust, if you have a community of people that believe in you, you might as well just keep on going because they ain't gonna let you stop until you get to the top, you know? So just keep on going. Just know we have you as a person that is of high quality that is going to do great things out here and just keep going, man. Just understand there's going to be more failures than success, but don't let that scare you from being a person that's going to succeed.
I agree on that, especially on you're going to have more failures. And I think
Hmm.
a lot of young folks that are trying to start businesses see a lot of things on social media that is not true because there's too many
Yeah.
people giving business advice that don't actually have a business.
Yeah. Like
And
they love showing the glitz and glams of entrepreneurship, but it's work, man. It's absolute work. And if you ain't willing to go through the downs as much as the ups, then you might as well just not go this route because it's like I said, it's gonna be more failures than successes.
I agree. And it's painful. It's painful.
Hmm.
I remember when the nonprofit was not where it is now.
Hmm.
Even now, I still don't think it's anywhere. I'm like, there's still so much more work to do, even as
Yeah.
it's been progressing. But I
Hmm.
remember when it was in the beginning stages and it was so hard to get, buy-in from folks. Like,
Yeah.
it was, and there was times where everything was going good. There was a lot of people. And then there was time where I had to cut down and there was not many people. And then there
Yeah.
were times where there's, it's like it's so many ups and downs. It's a revolving door of people who are involved and not involved, because
Hmm.
people have other things that they got going on or new opportunity present itself. But
Yeah.
with those lows, still knowing your why.
Exactly.
Why did I found this? Why did God give me this vision? Holding on
Hmm.
to that and not giving up, even if there's no money in the bank. Like,
Trust. I'm dealing with it right now.
that's another thing that people do not talk about. Even if you
Mhm.
have, I think also too, like, even because everybody has different types of businesses, so you never know who your business mentor might be that's giving you that information. But I always try to
Mhm.
keep it real. Like when you start out, you don't have money. Someone asked me that they want to, do their own organization. And I said, you know, you need to pay for some of these things out of pocket.
Mhm.
Or you're not going to be a incorporated business
Yeah.
because no one's going to give you funding
Mhm.
without certain documentation from the state.
Exactly. And
So
I wanted to backtrack because you mentioned God, man, and I want this to be like another advice for the youth, man. Like make sure God is at the foundation of everything that you do. Like my favorite scripture, man, is Proverbs 3, 5, and 6. Trust in the Lord with all your heart and lean not to thy own understanding. In all your ways acknowledge him, and he will make your path straight. Now, one thing about it, like when he says he'll make your path straight, that doesn't mean you're not gonna go through ups and downs. You know what I'm saying? Like you're gonna have your peaks, you're gonna have your valleys. But if you just keep staying focused on what's at hand for what God has put in place for you, listen, there's going to be nothing but prosperity as long as you just stay resilient. So make sure you remember who you are and whose you are when it comes to this journey.
I agree. And keeping God in the foundation of it all, you know, even me, that's
Hmm.
the foundation of the nonprofit, hence Angels Protection.
Oh yeah, most definitely.
Yeah. So that's the main thing, keeping that um, in the forefront that, I really love how you said that because most people don't think about that.
Yeah.
Because, every successful business owner that I know, they go to church, they're Christian,
Hmm.
so and it's hard because there's going to be days where you're like, what am I doing? Like
Yeah.
if your account is in the negative or a partnership might go through or a deal
Yeah.
might not close,
You
you know,
may get addicted or something like,
like
but
so
it's a
many
part of the
things.
journey.
So, but in the midst of that, having God at the forefront
Hmm. Like, listen, man, you can go through absolute chaos, but as long as you got God on your side, like he gonna get you through it.
all the time, he never
Mm.
fails. And he's always right on time. Like there'll be times where I'm like, man, what am I doing? But then I'll get an email or a message about an opportunity, maybe like the
Mm.
next day. And I'm
Yeah,
like, wow, okay. And that's why things it's not about our timing. It's about the timing that God has for us because there's a reason for everything. And he wants to see, is my child going to hold on to that faith?
yeah.
Come
That
on.
mustard seed of faith, man. Listen, and he's not gonna be there when you want him, but he's always on time, man. You know, that's one thing about it. Two things for sure, three things for certain. He's always gonna be on time.
Always on time. Like I would have never thought like with my nonprofit, it would have got to where it is now, and it's
Yeah.
still small compared to others that I've seen, and that have been around for decades,
Hmm.
70 years, 50 years. But,
Yeah.
I think also too, like being patient with ourselves because these organizations have the infrastructure, and then it's just us or, a team of three or a team of five
Yeah.
to work.
Like,
So,
yeah, and it's like to be proud with your progress. You know what I'm saying? Like, comparison is the thief of joy. Don't worry about anybody else's path because if it was supposed to be your path, it would have been your path. So just continue to like just be grateful for the ups and the downs that you're going through because all it's doing is getting you closer to that prosperity that God promised us.
amen. Feel like you're preaching. I
Hey man, listen, I got baptized back in
know
November, so
I've seen
you
it.
know what I'm saying? Like, listen, I've been really running towards God, especially the year I had last year, but that's another story for another day.
No, listen, I remember this is a sidetrack, but I remember when I got baptized. It was at Enon Tabernacle Baptist Church. That's my church.
Okay.
Love my Enon. But yeah, so like and I remember when I went under the water and when I came up, all like when I was under, all I seen was God, but in white. And I will
Yeah.
never forget that. Like I will never forget that. And it was just such a beautiful feeling. Like, and most people don't know what that feels like
Yeah.
under, and truly like I was just it was the best. I'm like, put me under again.
Oh yeah. And yo, like listen, like whole time November was my second time getting baptized. So I got baptized back when I was 14, but this baptism meant more to me because it's like I realized before I got baptized that I didn't fear God as much as I thought I did.
Mm.
And, I went through a season of repentance. I was just asking God to, forgive me for the sins that I committed. And honestly, when I got baptized, now granted, we're all human, there's going to come mistakes along the way. But, there's more conviction now when it comes to my actions, if like, especially if it's not of God, and I just want to thank him for getting me through 100% of the battles that I thought I couldn't get out of, and thankful for the battles that he's going to get me through, in the future. So, listen, to God be the glory. All the mistakes were mine.
Amen. And I'm like, that's the one thing too. Like being baptized as a child is way different when you make that decision as an adult, which
Oh yeah.
most people don't, see. And it's important making that decision and, for yourself, for your soul.
Mhm.
Um, so also too, I wanted to touch on what excites you most about the future of sustainable technology and wearable innovation.
Yeah, honestly, that the fact that it's getting more publicity, you know what I'm saying? Like, I feel like especially with sustainability, like we're trying to make sure that the earth is not hurting no more. We're trying to make sure that we can keep this earth as long as we can. Like, with global warming, I mean, we see what y'all president is doing, with the climate change and stuff, but that's another story for another day, but I ain't gonna go into depth into that. But seeing that we're making sustainability look cool, especially having it into this fashion aspect, the sky's the limit. Like I really believe that this is going to be the start of something that's going to like just make sustainability really at the forefront if it's not already. Because fashion, like myself, I went to Hampton, that was like drip or drown season every day. So it was like you better come with a fit or you better not come out at all. So if we have something that could make us look good, like I mentioned before, make us look good, feel good, but it's also good for the environment using solar energy and stuff. Oh yeah, we're gonna be straight.
I love that. And then I also wanted to ask too, when you think about the future, what legacy do you hope that your work leaves at the intersection of technology and impact?
Yeah, the legacy I just want to leave is that I did everything God intended for me to do. Like I've been through the fire, I've been through the flood, but I was able to make it to the mountaintop. You know what I'm saying? Like I did everything I did. I did everything I could do to make sure that just the world is a better place. You know, I want to see young black boys and girls looking at me saying like, because of you, I did. You know, like that's the legacy I want to leave. Even not just like black boys and black girls, but honestly, like anybody that's inspired by me. Because like, different demographics have different struggles, but if they see that I've been through a struggle that was similar to theirs and was able to get to this type of presence and platform, then at least I know that I'm doing my part to see them get into that next phase of their life. Because I'm doing great things, but I know the next generation is going to do even bigger and better. So that's what I'm here for.
I agree. And then also too, how can listeners support your work and stay connected to all of the initiatives that you're involved in?
Oh yeah, most definitely. So if you guys can follow Tendaji, it's going to be at ten.daji. You can also follow my personal page, which is _dr.jr. My LinkedIn is my name, Daryl Riley Jr. And yeah, that word of mouth, man. Like if you guys just continue supporting us, whether it's through just talking to somebody, texting, reposting us, it's only going to make things better for us. You know what I'm saying? So appreciate y'all support and much love to y'all.
Yes, and please connect with him, y'all. It's really important that we're keeping this thing going and, seeing all the work that he's doing. And also, I just want to say thank you so much for your vision, your discipline, and your commitment to building technology that serves people, not just the markets. Your journey reminds us that innovation is rooted in purpose and has the power to shift culture, expand access, and redefine what's possible. And to our listeners, if today's conversation resonated with you, visit angelsprotection.org to learn more about how we support future leaders through innovation, advocacy, and community-centered impact. And always remember, science protects systems, not people. So let's keep bringing it together. And I want to say, like, comment, and subscribe. Okay. So thanks so much, guys. See you next time.
Take
Bye.
care, y'all. God bless.